Hi, EDLD 512 students, Dr. Fox here. We're looking at correlation analysis, and we're seeing if there is a relationship or an association between student perception of educational parental support. So how supported from an educational standpoint does a student feel? So that's on a scale from 1 to 5. And then we're looking to see if there is a relationship between that and like an average homework grade. So that's our research question. Now, again, correlation does not equal causation, so we're not proving that parental support as it increases proves that it has a causal effect upon homework grade. All we can see and all we can ask correlation to do is as one numbers rise, do the others rise as well? As one number rises, does the other one fall? That would be a negative relationship. If they both go in the same direction, either up or down, then that's a positive relationship, most likely. We have to look at our p-value, though, our sig value. Okay, so the very first thing that we do is we always, and I have it right here, we have to do a scatter plot first. And I'm just going to take the first 30. Usually we would do the whole thing, but I'm going to let you do all of the data, all 42 cases, because, no, it would be less than that, minus 3, yeah. I'll let you take all the data, and I'll do the first just down to row 30 here, however many that is. I guess it's 27 maybe. In any case, let's do a scatter plot, and I'm going to grab the labels and go on down to 30, and then click Insert, and then move over to, I could click Recommended Charts, but I know exactly what I want. I want to see a scatter plot. So I'm going to click on that, and then the very first one, right at the top left, is a simple scatter plot. So here it is. This is a scatter plot of our data, and as let's click the plus line and add the trend line. So this is the line of best, what's referred to as the line of best fit. And if the dots are close to that line, it's pretty good relationship, pretty strong relationship. If the dots are kind of scattered all over the place, it's not a strong relationship. In fact, if what we can tell though is that since the line is going up, that it is a positive and most likely a strong relationship because the dots are real close to the line. So we're just visualizing the scatter plot, making some, this is giving us some visual clues. The next thing that we want, so we could already say that the direction is positive because the line is going up. If the line were going down, then we would say it's a negative relationship. But there's another way we can tell whether or not this is positive or negative by actually calculating our test statistic. We don't have to calculate this. Excel does it for us, and it does it by a function, the Correll function. So equals CORR. There it is right there. I double click on it, and it's saying, okay, what information do you want? We want array number 1, which is the parental support, and array number 2 is the homework grade. So don't click the labels this time. Oops. Don't click the labels this time. Just go from here, and I'm just taking to line 30, and then a comma here to line 30, and then hitting enter. So this is our test statistic, 0.95. That's a pretty strong effect. How do I know that? Well, how do we know the direction? That number is positive. There isn't a negative in front of it. And then the effect size, I go over to my effect size key. If it's greater, so we see where it falls on here, and 0.95 is greater than 0.8, so we can say that it's a very strong effect size. Now, there is language that that we use called R-squared, which is it's kind of like an effect size, but all we do is square the R test statistic. So I could do equals test statistic asterisk test statistic. There's another way to do that with a function, but it's just the R squared, and it's 91%. Actually, it's 0.95, and then before the video, I just clicked on percent, so that formatting was still in there. So you might get something that you might get 0.91, but just click on that percent sign. And what this tells us is that 91% of the homework grade can be attributed to perception of educational parental support. Okay? The only thing that we don't have is if we wanted to report the sig value or the p-value, and this tells us whether or not it is a statistically significant relationship. We already know just because of how close those dots are to the line. But if we wanted to calculate the p-value, Excel doesn't make it easy. And so I'm going to go over to data and then data analysis. And instead of doing correlation, we actually have to run a regression. And we're going to see a lot of numbers here, but let me get rid of all of this. Labels. Okay, so this is what we actually, this is the box. Input range, let's go up. And I'm going to grab on the labels, go down to line 30. And then the X range, grab and go down to line 30. And then click on labels, because I clicked on the labels up here because I want them to show up in the report. And then the output range, let's put it right here. And that's it. Click OK. Now, we really don't need all of these numbers. So see the multiple R, that's 0.95, that's the R value. The R squared, 0.9, essentially 0.91, which is 91%. So we have that number there. So we already have these numbers. Let's get rid of those. We don't need, for our purposes, these numbers. We also don't need the intercept. We also don't need these numbers, and we don't need those numbers. All we need is that number right there. Out of all of those numbers, this is our p-value right there. Now, let me cut that and put it up here. And then let's get rid of all of this other stuff. So this number right here, 1.73, first, it looks like it's over 0.05. So it looks like it's greater than 0.05. So that would give us an indication that there is not a statistically significant relationship. But we must be reading something wrong here. In Excel, actually, whenever you have the E dash and then some number after it, it's a shorthand for this. See the decimal right there after the 1? If we were to move that, we have to move that over 14 times to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In other words, this number right here is like 0.00000, however many, 12 or 13, and then 17. I don't have the right number of zeros in there, but 17363. That's our actual p-value. Oh, there it is up there. All right, looks something like that. So if this p-value were like 0.345, we would say p equals 0.345. Okay, we would say equal because it's an actual number there. When it's this small and it has a bunch of zeros in front, we don't report it as equal. We say P is less than, and we use 0.001. That's what number we use if it's really small. It's, so that's how we report the actual p-value there. So we've just done correlation analysis. The very first thing we did was a scatter plot, and we visualized the data. We saw that there is most likely it's going in a positive direction. It looks like it is statistically significant because those dots are very close to the lines. I think I overdid it with my fake data. I should have made it, the dots kind of spread out a little bit more. But anyhow, so we know the test R statistic. We calculated that using the Correl, C-O-R-R-E-L, equals Correl, and then we put in our first line and then put in our second line. We calculated the p-value by using the regression data analysis and picking out that p-value. We interpreted our effect size by taking the R value and looking at our key here, and we found out that it was very strong. And then we also squared. We multiplied 0.95 times 0.95, and we got 0.91. Turned that into a percentage. So we know that there is a positive, statistically significant relationship between parental support and average homework grade. That the effect is strong, and we could say that 91% of our homework grade can be contributed to perception of parental support. Okay, so that's what we get. Remember, we have to have continuous or scaled data here. So on a range from 1 to 7, 1 to 10, on a range from 0 to 100, whatever it might be, scaled data, not ranges, and we can do correlation analysis. The other important thing is we have to make sure that we have good data here, that we've done, maybe instead of just asking how supportive do you feel your parents are to your education? Instead of just asking the one question, maybe we might ask 4 or 5 or even 10 questions that kind of get at parental support. Do your parents support you when you do your homework? Do your parents, talk to you about the different grades that you have? On a scale from 1 to 10, how many times or to what degree do your parents talk to you about school? Whatever. And then we would average those numbers, and we'd have a good perception of parental support number. Okay, hopefully this is helpful to you, and blessings.